Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at Dragon number 79 from November 1983. 40 years ago this month. Amazing. We start with the cover, and no offense to the artist or anything, but this was never a cover that I was that crazy about. And we go to the opening, and we can join the quest. Elf Quest figures from Rel Partha, sculpted by Julie Guthrie. I'm going to have to go through this a little quicker than normal today. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of time. So now we got a nice ad for ICE, Explore the Ultimate Fantasy World. ICE brings the legendary realms of Middle-earth. We get the table of contents for November of 83. And we get the editorial. Out on a limb, letters from the editor, or from the fans, rather. Letters to the editor. And then somebody talking about the plain articles. Walk the Forbidden Paths of Midkemia Press. Use of Magic, the Dragonbone Electronic Die. James Bond 007 from Victory Games. And then we get the Ecology of the Treant. I remember liking this article quite a bit. I've always liked treants. Who here doesn't love Treebeard from Lord of the Rings? But treants themselves I always thought were very interesting. I've always done what I used to call, or still call, a blighted treant. That's a treant that has some type of blight that's made it evil. And I enjoyed this article on the Ecology of the Treant. The Best, again, the third volume of Best of series. Must for any gamer or collector of Dragon magazine. I like the Best ofs. I have the first two of these. I think I had everything that was in the third and the fourth. Continuing our Treant article, Fantasy Lords by Grenadier. Real treasure for your next adventure. Some of these Fantasy Lord sets were really nice. Oops, got 2 pages. There we go. And then we get The Ordeal, fiction by Antonil Annan Noel. Don't remember reading this particular story. Tarsus, World Beyond the Frontier from Game Designers Workshop. That's for Traveler. I really like that box set. New in the Starfleet universe. Commander's SSD Book 2 from Task Force Games. Sage Advice. One of my favorite things about the Dragon was the Sage Advice column. We got these fairly often, a couple times a year, and they'd always ask good questions about various problems you'd have in the D&D game, and then we'd get some pretty interesting solutions, and honestly, lots of ideas. Have a high adventure this holiday season from Dragon Tooth. You can save $2 40 years ago. Magic Resistance, how it is or what it is and how it works. I kind of skipped this page. This is the rest of the Sage Advice. Game Masters Hobbies, Inc. An ad for Mission. And then we go to Magic Resistance, what it is and how it works. I enjoyed this article. I'm a big fan of Magic Resistance. I use it in my games. I think I did a video. Yeah, I did a video about a year ago about layers of protection. One of them, of course, was Magic Resistance. Why MR works sometimes and MR doesn't work sometimes. It's a complicated system, but once you understand it, it's not that hard to administer. The rest of the article on Magic Resistance, we've got it. I had for Recon, role-playing game of the Vietnam War from RPG Incorporated. Let Rel Partha's fantasies go bump in your night. Rel Partha, more than just a fantasy. I like Rel Partha. Some of the stuff is still available. You got to look around on the internet, but you can find it. And not in secondary markets. I mean, there are some manufacturers that still sell it first. Fantasy isn't always pretty. And this is from Citadel. I like Citadel stuff too. Gen Con Miniature Open 83. So lots of miniatures that made it to Gen Con, and some of the stuff is just so beautifully painted. That's gorgeous. That picture's too dark, unfortunately. Just amazing. I cannot paint like this. If you followed my channel for a while, you know that. Blame It on the Gremlins, Militaristic Mischief Makers. This is by Greg Chamberlain. One of my favorite Bugs Bunny cartoons is when he fights the gremlin. The Complete Strategist, your newest adventure lies on the horizon. And, okay. There's the rest of the article on the Gremlins. I do remember reading this article. I don't know that I ever used Gremlins, although I've used them as Dark Fae. So it's possible I did right after this. Fantasy Games Unlimited gives us space opera, villains and vigilantes, aftermath, chivalry and sorcery, and bushido. I've played Space Opera and V&V. Those were two really good games, actually. Setting saintly standards. Friends of the gods deserve special powers. We use the heck out of this. I like the Solars and the Planetars and things that came out in Monster Manual 2, which came out in August of 83 or thereabouts. And then the saintly standards kind of boosted that a little bit. You got to kind of take some of the Saint Bane the Scourger, so you got to take some of the Christianity out of here, but it's still a very usable system. The Egyptian trilogy, Man, Myth, and Magic, and this is by Yaquinto Publications. Add some magic to your campaign with the Complete Alchemist and the Complete Spellcaster. Sorry if I seem a little rushed on this one. I kind of am, as if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that we've been caring for an ill family member. So I'm having to make videos when I have the opportunity. So that's what this is. Here we have an ad for RuneQuest by Chaosium, Diamond Dice, Master Dice Sets, and Judges Guild. Judges Guild had some interesting stuff through the early to mid-'80s. Foxbat, this time he's fighting for his life. Coming this Christmas, Champions 3. Foxbat, I never liked Foxbat in Champions. I'm probably amongst the minority, but never a fan. He was a tongue-in-cheek bad guy. Always had ping-pong ball guns and things like that. He featured a lot in the early Champions. An ad for more of where this came from, Back Issue of the Dragons, and it's amazing we've got in store for you from Amazing Magazine, both from TSR. Wacko World, first place winner, module design contest. A top secret mission for 48 players designed by Al Taylor. I remember reading this back in the day. I don't ever remember running it. Star Trek Crew 2 Wrath of Khan miniatures. Continuing on our Wacko World. Then we've got a bunch of ads here. Pentastar, fantastic strategy game from Adventure Games. Feudal Lords. This one always sounded kind of interesting to me. Attention all fantasy role-playing gamers. It's not an FR game where you use dice or maps. It's a real adventure. Electronics enables us to give you working magic items and magic spells. Adventure Under Other Suns by Fantasy Games Unlimited. Never did buy that one. Continuing through our adventure for Top Secret, now we've got Earthwood, GSI in Miami, Florida, and the Wizard's Corner, Saskatoon's Fantasy Role-Playing Game Center. And then continuing on our Top Secret module. We were playing Top Secret at the time. I probably used this map, actually. We were playing Top Secret. I just don't remember running this adventure. Fly Real Rockets from Estes. These guys are still around. And the silver anniversary for Estes. I think the thought was that as long as you're in hobby shops buying D&D stuff, you may as well buy a flying rocket too. Continuing on our module, we get more ads. Around this time, Dragon had cut down the page count. It used to be about 128 pages. Now it's down to about 86, I think. And we saw that the ads started creeping up a little bit. So the circulation had come down. By the end of 83, D&D was kind of waning in some popularity with the people at large. We still loved it, but a lot of people were moving away from it. And it was starting to show a little bit. Enter the Space Race from Fantasy Unlimited. New Castle Creations, Villains and Vigilantes, miniatures. Never bought any of these. Games Plus, your SPI specialist. These guys are still around. Beautiful hobby store. Dawning Empire. Don't know this one. Citadel Game Systems. And Cast Your Own Fantasy Figures from the Duncan Company. Continuing on the very long module, we get What's New t-shirts. Phil and Dixie, if you want to have them on your t-shirt, this is your chance 40 years ago to get a Phil and Dixie t-shirt. Oddly enough, you can probably find these online if you looked. Continuing on the very long adventure, we're looking for a few good humans for Star Trek, the role-playing game. The recruiting offices, I always look in Illinois. Buyers in Woodstock. Friends Hobby Store in Waukegan, never in either one of those. And of course, Games Plus, they're still there. They just moved across the street around year 2000. Page Advice 2, getting started. How are you going to get started as being a DM or GM for your role-playing game? I always like good advice. Columns like this. New for summer play, The Companions. And Bath, Maine. Campaign adventures at its finest. City of the Sacred Flame within the Tyrant's Demesne. These were from Game Lords. Game Lords had some interesting stuff. Nova game designs for Lost Worlds. Never played that. Asgard Miniatures, The Armory. The invasion has begun. And Asgard, you can find these at the following fine hobby stores. And there again is Games Plus and Mount Prospect. Down in Springfield, Black & Company. I think I was there, actually. Westmont in Lyles. I was in that one. I think that's it. I used to go down to Indianapolis a fair amount in the 80s. Not Indianapolis, Springfield a fair amount in the 80s for business. So I was at a lot of hobby stores down there. The Fights of Fantasy. Good generalship from non-medieval point of view. By Louis Pulsifer, who writes a good article. Then we get Silver Dam. $5,000 Quest Tournament. I never bought into any of these. I don't know how they were. If you did, please let us know. Super World, the superpowered role-playing game. Defend justice and smash evil with your Super World heroes by Chaosium. Play by Mail, Car Wars Auto Duel by Prometheus Games, Schubel and Son. We did play some Car Wars back in the 80s. One of my players was into it, and he brought it, and we played it a little bit. It was never really for me. It was a fine system, but it was just never really for me. We got the Warlord Play by Mail and Universe 3 from Central Texas Computing. Continuing on our How to Be DM campaign series, Game Grid Sheets. And now Realistic Spaces, Endless Plans. Cardboard dungeon layouts were getting popular 40 years ago. And then they've kind of gone full circle. 3D became really hot around 2000. And with 3D printers, of course, it's still very strong. But you can also get the flat plans now from a lot of different companies. The Tin Soldier, Springfield, Massachusetts, your source for a wide range of games. Conquer the Galaxy in your spare time, Lords of Space by Gregory Enterprises. I don't know that one. Be Aware and Take Care, Basic Principles of Successful Adventuring by Lou Pulsifer. So how you now you know how to GM, now you have to learn how to be a player. Newsflash, Nuclear Escalation, sequel to popular Nuclear Wars Unleashed, Draw Skippy. Here's your big opportunity, Scottsdale, Arizona. Still continuing on in how to be a player. You couldn't wait for Siege Crews to complement our H.G. Wells award-winning range of siege equipment. I always wanted the siege ladder and the tower. These are just really cool. I like these. The Trebuchet, which I do not see pictured. That's a Springle. Trebuchet would have gone $12. $12 in 1984 or 83. That was a lot of money. Continuing on our article on how to be a good player. Mock the First Colony. And then Broadsword Miniatures from Norcross, Georgia. I like that Cyclops. Okay, continuing on, a very long article. Savage, vividly detailed buckles sculptured by C.N. Pesco out of Audubon, New Jersey. Hobby House makes it easy to shop by mail. Star Frontiers Nighthawks. I like Star Frontiers. Or Monster Manual 2. There you go. From Westland, Michigan. Offer expires 1/1/84. Hurry, get yours now. Continuing on the article, finishing it up. Live a Charmed Fantasy from Amulet in Troy, Michigan. The Palladium role-playing game. I never played Palladium. I've gotten feedback from viewers who said it was a really good system. Gamer's Guide. I've gone through this before. The Gamer's Guide was just things you can send away for, people you can connect with to get various things. These were a lot of computer games, played by mail games back in the day. Science Fiction Gaming Convention calendar. Hurry, hurry. 40 years ago, you could go to some of these. This goes all the way out to May 4th through 6th. So hurry and you can make some of these. Off the Shelf, Art, Science, Dinosaurs, and More. A couple of books you can buy. I always liked the book section. I always looked at it. Even went out and bought a few of the books based on the reviews printed here. Philip K. Dick, The Unteleported Man. Let's see, Dungeon Floor, some more of the cardboard dungeon tiles. Those, I have a few sets of those around here. Orson Scott Card, The Worthing Chronicle. And then we get to the cartoons. We start with Wormy. I always liked Wormy. Shame Wormy never got finished. What's New? This became my favorite by about this time. I really liked What's New. Phil Foglio. And then we go to the rest of the Out on the Limb, the letters to the editor, and a moving card, and then index to advertisers. The inside back is Harn, the Dawn of a New Fantasy World, and the back page is for the Fellowship of the Ring, first in a new series of fantasy board games based on Tolkien's Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So there you have it. Just a briefer than usual look at Dragon Magazine. Sorry I couldn't stop and linger over the details, but as I said, my time is not my own right now. We're going to see how that goes on going forward. So thank you for watching. Happy November. And then, of course, I'll be back with the December Dragon and whatever videos I can still make in the next couple of months. So that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.